Dearest mother, I I like tangentially know about this show because of Two Best Friends, because like I was kind of aware that a bunch of stuff gets done because Matt has said Kamiyama like 100 times, and I'm pretty sure that Akajo Windbreaker comes from this, if I'm not mistaken.
Where do you want us to start?
I don't fucking know.
How about let's start with the premise, because the premise is
What premise? Pull a premise out of your ass right now.
So there is this high school, and it has a bunch of delinquents.
Okay, yeah. Let's get that. Let's throw that out in animation and see what that all covers.
Okay, let's start with some.
That's like I was watching Asterix War the other day. I was describing someone. Oh, so I started an anime. They're like, oh, what? So what's it about? Well, this kid transfers to a school, and they're at fighting competitions, and he's different than the other kids. That doesn't help me. I'm sorry.
How about we start with some historical context of when this show came out?
That Freddie Mercury was in a Japanese high school?
I mean,
historical accuracy. Anyway,
yeah, no, I mean just some new context for the sake of when this show came out. So, like how films went through like genres until they burned out on them, like Westerns. We had the big sci-fi boom, the music boom,
Yep.
the 70s film era kind of stuff, and the 80s action genre. Anime goes through that a lot, or it used to go through that, right? Like the current trend right now is like harem anime and isekai. Back then, it was like sports drama. They had their sci-fi hit. But during the 80s and 90s, there was like a very, I guess, special time period where it was like we were getting delinquent dramas left and right. And a lot of those, like the modern day equivalents would be, what was it called? Like Tokyo Revengers.
Oh, yeah.
And this show is based off of a manga. Duh, what isn't? And it's basically a whole, like, let's just take the piss in the wind out of it, of the genre, and let's just turn it into a comedy. And that's all that this show is. It was released during that same time period when like Excel Saga came out. This is when all like the really manic anime comedies came out. Unfortunately, this one got kind of pushed under the rug because Excel Saga was just that big. It's kind of like how you better have not been a musician during the 90s or else, what was their name? Oh, shoot.
Napster?
No, I'm sorry. Just go. Kurt Cobain's band.
Nirvana.
Yeah, you better have not been a band during Nirvana's time period or else your career died right then and there. Or if you were like a film releasing around E.T., every film died around E.T. So and I think that's what happened with this one. So, yeah, it's a total, like, I guess like a more modern equivalent to like a shit post anime, because that's what this is. Think of every delinquent drama you could think, like trope, and it will make fun of that. So
this feels like MXC, but what the afterthoughts were the original script.
Yeah. I'm kind of shocked this show didn't do better, because I feel like if this was put on like Adult Swim during its early days, this thing would have killed it. Because putting this next to like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, it would have made like all the fame and popularity. Unfortunately, that never happened. So
that'll happen.
But yeah, that's Cromartie High School, a giant parody of delinquent dramas. And I love it. I forgot how zany this first episode is and how they're all just like, oh yeah, I used to be so tough. That's why I was called Fireball Junior number 3. And they're like, wow, that's amazing. Or like, what was the other one? Oh yeah, I was putting people like left and right on the ground to the hospital. So
The
I was,
hospitalizer number 2.
yeah, number 2, and they're like, that doesn't sound awesome enough. And all the digital, like instead of cigarettes, they replace them with like weird little things, like either vegetables or
They looked like the goo piles from Dragon Quest.
they
They
did.
do.
And then there's that one guy who's just like, I've never actually been in a fight because anybody who sees me gets scared and tries to get on my good side. Oh well, what? Like, how many fight have you actually been in a fight? Well, no, not really.
Not really. I just ate pencils.
Yeah, the pencilating scene is what exactly gets you into knowing what kind of show this is.
It's not enough for him to just eat one pencil. He has to eat the entire box.
And then he's like puking them up in the background. And I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about exactly what is so great about this show unless you were a part of this time period. And just all the random manic humor that you would see it's all that. There's really no plot. They try to fit in plots and they'll have reoccurring characters and such, but it's mostly a gag anime. So, what did y'all think?
I mean, it was funny. It was all second by second, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, it's the type of things. Like I said, it's two best friend style humor, so I got laughs out of it. Yeah, probably the thing I laughed at the most was the weird, I want to say Ben Franklin looking thought cloud that he had when he was trying to.
Oh, he was reading the like the guide to becoming a high school delinquent
or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, or don't use too much hair dye because it'll turn white and you'll look like a pussy.
Shave off your eyebrows.
Your eyebrows. Give them all a pensive stare.
Yeah.
Do this all before your first day of school. Well, it's too late for that.
And there's that one guy with like the upper lip that looks like a cat and with the purple hair that just whips around from time to time. It's just like, this guy's so tough. How can you not see it? He's just a innocent little bunny among a herd of lions. How could you find nobody tougher than that?
That's a badass bunny. You don't know what his name is? No, I don't know what his name is.
Oh God,
You'll
the
know
guy
when
with
you
the
see
blonde,
him.
the one guy with the blonde hair. He's going to get trashed on and dunked on all throughout the series, basically because he didn't have a badass nickname.
Oh, of course not. I never got one. What the hell?
It's like, well, what are we supposed to call you? Like Sakuya of something.
I don't remember.
I know the humor goes by very fast in this show,
Yes,
and
it does.
and I think this show didn't get the biggest budget and I think they use it to their advantage because it's not a well animated show, but it works around it with its manic humor and writing and just how stupid all these delinquent men or male characters are. And I mean, it was done by let's see, Production IG. They usually do good stuff, but I think it was kept to a basic budget, or this was all intentional from the director and such. And because it's a lot of standing around, there's not a whole lot of fighting, which is kind of the point. But oh gosh, yeah, the Freddie Mercury character. It's just Freddie.
What are we gonna call him? Freddie. Not Freddie Mercury because that'd be copyrighted.
Just Freddie.
And if JoJo's taught me anything, you cannot mention a musician.
No.
Unless it's Billie Jean, because somehow that one's okay.
I'll never get that or understand how that gets past the okay and such.
They couldn't use the term man in the mirror, but a character was okay to be called Billie Jean.
Right. No, and there's a lot of moments where it's just like, yeah, I could tell you my backstory, but you should read the manga.
You should
instead.
just read the manga. Yes.
Yeah, they pulled that one out like a couple times.
Yeah, no, and I love the part where they're just like, okay, we're gonna have a big fight with another school, so I pulled the 3 strongest people here. Yeah, that's them. And the new guy's like, wait a minute, why am I here?
I'm not. What is going on?
And then it's just like, okay, so I've seen Freddy. That I'm not going to be amazed by anything else. Then there's a gorilla.
Then there's a robot.
Oh yeah, no, get ready for that character. He's great. And they're just like, I love how he says, I've already seen this one guy in this gorilla. I don't think there's anything that can amaze me. Mekazawa, there's about to be another fight, and then it's just like, whoa,
Mekazawa.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he's going to be one of my favorites.
He's going to appear a lot. You've basically met a lot of the entire cast, and
I can imagine. The entire poster for the DVD is just who we met.
Yeah, pretty much. They'll have like reoccurring characters coming in from time to time, but like through the opening and such. And
by the way, can we talk about the opening for a second and just how completely batshit it is?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's one of those openings where you have to kind of pause every few seconds to spot a detail in the background. Like there's a meteor in the background of the school, or one classroom. There's a bunch of robots and an alien floating around.
There's a guy with like the afro who's like
a billion miles wide.
Yes. I mean, like, I don't know. When y'all heard about, like, when I selected this anime, because behind the scenes shenanigans, I was suggesting we do Konosuba for a more modern, dark comedy, Always Sunny kind of situation. But since they announced a third season and a spin-off OVA, I was just like, okay, never mind. We can't talk about that. Yeah. So I was just like, let's just get Cromartie High School. It's quick. All the episodes are 11 minutes of nonsense. And there's probably no reboot in sight for this one.
For those that
I
don't know,
see a reboot happening anytime soon.
I've never said it openly, but there is basically one standard rule of Fresh Takes is that it cannot be an ongoing show.
Right.
That's the only thing, because there has to be some awayness to it. But yeah. I've heard of, like, Esther, what you suggested, I've heard of Cromartie, because again, Best Friends just references it consistently over the 10 years that I watched them doing YouTube videos. So I have a feeling I'm gonna have core memories on lock when I hear a line of dialogue. But yeah, just like I said, Matt has said the exact cadence of Kamiyama.
I mean, do y'all have a favorite character so far, or a favorite gag?
I like Kamiyama a lot so far. I mean, he's standard. He's great. I could just the dearest mother thing I could listen to every other scene.
I've just arrived at this high school, and I'm hoping to adapt here soon and have a great time. Unfortunately, a lot of these people here are scaring me.
I think Hayashida, the guy with the purple mohawk, is up there for one of my favorites. But yeah, the main character is great too.
Yeah, and they'll interchange a bunch of delinquents within the main cast, and some of the ones you see in the opening, one of them's this guy with the long hair and the white suit. He's the trope of he's from a different school, and he's going to fight the other kids, in any other boilerplate anime kind of thing.
Of course. And
then there's always going to be that super notorious delinquent character who's just probably my favorite character. You'll see him in the opening, and he kind of pukes out a smaller Kamiyama.
Oh god.
They do some weird censoring in this show when they don't need to. This wasn't a 4Kids distribution. This was distributed by ADV Films. So a lot of that is intentional.
Okay, got it. Okay. That makes sense.
Because they were I love that opening scene, these people in this show are delinquents, and you shouldn't imitate the things that they do. Then you see that Kamiyama gets thrown into a jail. Seriously, for the love of God, don't do this.
It is nice that they have their own please don't try this at home thing.
It reminds me during that time, a lot of anime were coming out with those special opening warnings, say please watch this in a bright room.
Oh, I remember those.
And I don't know if that was because of the whole Pokemon thing with Porygon causing a ton of epileptic seizures.
Yeah.
So, but this was one of those things, and that opens every single episode. And yeah, so
okay.
did y'all have, so Did y'all have a favorite gag?
Oh man, the nickname things were pretty good, but just I think the utter stupidity of the pencil thing.
Yeah,
just
that's
off the start. I think might have been my favorite.
That and the nicknames are the two that like. Also meeting Freddy.
Yeah, he just pulls open the door, no shirt on, just has suspenders and pants. He'll be riding around on a horse throughout a lot of this show, so like you see in the opening, and yeah, so get ready for nonsense. Mike, did you have a favorite gag?
Other than those two, it's hard to pick just one. It really, just this whole episode is like this whole episode is really just like the introduction, and
it gets crazier. This is when I used to actually like watching short form anime because they would get in and get out quick without pissing you off. Until like recently, where it's like watching something like Peter Grill, where I was just like, oh god, I hate these 15 minutes. God darn it. It's just, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what it all does, because like I said, it's been a tangential reference point in my life for like 10 years. Right. And I haven't quite seen it yet, but yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right. We're good for that. This is going to be a little bit different since we don't really have plot points to talk about. So it's going to be a little bit of getting used to. But all right. Cam, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/camsiview. I have my own website at camsiview.biz, where I review animated films and shows from around the world called The Other Side of Animation. I do the co-hosting of the animation podcast called Renegade Animation on renegadepopculture.com. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/camsiview. That's where you can find me.
All right. Mike, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Captain K42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can follow Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. We're also on Podchaser, on the Banana Meter. Listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we.
Absolutely. You can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero. This would normally be the point where I would tell you what I'm streaming, but this is literally not going to come out for about 36 weeks at this point. There's going to get a point where I'm going to have such a backlog of these that we're going to have to release 2 a week. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. But all right, yeah. Until next time, we'll see you all later. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.